lovely people, Nina here. So this week I have been reading Legendborn and I am obsessed with this book. It took me a little bit to get into because there's a lot of I feel like there's a lot of explaining and world building-esque, which makes sense because it's a fantasy novel. And so you need exposition, I guess, to get to understand the story. And so because I'm not used to reading fantasy, and I know that's what a lot of fantasy is you have to have exposition and world building to get to the story for it to make sense. I'm not used to that, so it took me a little bit to get into. I did like it at first, but I was just kind of very slowly reading it. But I have been reading this all month, and I am now a little over halfway. I love this book so much. I'm obsessed with it. And so this week I thought I would talk about everything that I want to read in April. This being what I'm currently reading, and absolutely love it. It's so good. I have the second one, which I think I'm going to start in March. Yeah. But because now there's a week-ish and a few days, almost 2 weeks left of April, I was I should do what I want to get through in April. So most of the month I've been reading Legendborn. It has taken me a bit to get into because it's also quite thick. It's 500 and some pages. So it has taken me a bit, but I do love it and I'm obsessed, so that's okay that it's taken me almost the month. My goal is a book a week, but with something like Legendborn that takes so long to read just because fantasy and it's over 500 pages, it's fine that it took me a little bit. And I've kind of been in a reading, not slump, just slow go. So the other books, I have a little kind of stack that I've wanted to get through this month. We'll see what I can accomplish. April is National Poetry Month, so I did pick up 3 different books of poetry. 2 which I've started, 1 which I haven't started. My goal is to get through the 2. Poetry I feel goes a lot faster for me, and I read a lot faster when I do read poetry, and I'll read poetry typically at night, so I'm not awake for hours on end stuck in a story that I don't want to put down, because if I pick up my book and it gets really, really good, I just don't want to put it down, and then I'm up until 3 in the morning reading, which is not bad sometimes, but other times I'm I need to go to bed. So I'll read poetry before I go to bed. These are the 3 books of poetry. This one I've started, The World Keeps Ending, The World Goes On. I think I've talked about this on here before, but the description says, "Many have called our time dystopian, but the world keeps ending and the world goes on reminds us that the apocalypse has already come in a myriad of ways for marginalized people." And it just continues on from there. But I've read some of this. I'm page 13. And it's really good so far. It's really beautiful and well written. So there's that one. The next one is Amanda Gorman's, which I've talked about here a million times. It's a book of poetry about the pandemic. It's very beautiful and very well done. I'm almost done with this, and my goal is to finish it. It makes me cry when I read it though, so it's a tougher read, but I do love it. I love Amanda Gorman's writing. So that's also for April. And then this one I have not read yet, but I got it from Book Outlet. Oh, I can feel this. There's a sticker on it. I got this from Book Outlet last year maybe? I don't remember when. But I've had it on my TBR list for a while. It's Black Girl Call Home. The back says, "From acclaimed poet Jasmine Mans comes an unforgettable poetry collection about race, feminism, and queer identity. With echoes of Gwendolyn Brooks and Sonia Sanchez, Mans writes to call herself and us home, Each poem explores what it means to be a daughter of Newark, New Jersey American and the painful, joyous path of adulthood as a young queer Black woman. So that's this one. It just sounded really good, and it's always on like the like top like book recommendations, like book reads. So there's this one. I've had this again for a minute, and I just always wanted to read it. So that's this. Like I said, April's poetry month, so I wanted to read as much poetry as I can. I have quite a few books of poetry because I love poetry so much, and I just have a lot of it. But I figure I picked these three because the two I've started, and then this one I've wanted to read for a while. So there's those. And then I have like actual books that I want to read that aren't poetry. So I'm finishing Legendborn, and then I have 4 others, which seems like a lot of books for, I'm not realizing, like a week and a few days, but I think I can do it because one of these I've already started, and then one is fairly short. So the first one is On Tyranny by Timothy Snyder. This has been all over like the internet, all over everything, just because of what's happening in America right now. And this is my mom's copy, which I'm borrowing. The audiobook for this is only like 2 hours long, so it's a fairly short read, but it's a really good and important read, especially right now. The back says, "The Founding Fathers tried to protect us from the threat they knew, the tyranny that overcame the ancient democracy. Today, our political order faces new threats, not unlike totalitarianism. Oh my gosh, that was a lot. Okay. Of the 20th century. We are not wiser than the Europeans who saw democracy yield to fascism, Nazism, or communism. Our advantage is that we might learn from their experiences." So I feel like this is going to be really good and really hard-hitting for now in the current political climate, and I kind of see why everyone's been reading this. So, On Tyranny. A short read, but a very important read. The next one is Sunny Days, which is about the creation of Sesame Street with the government defunding shows like Sesame Street and defunding PBS, and wanting to get rid of it. I figured now is a good time more than ever to read Sunny Days, which is about the creation of Sesame Street and why the show started. And I started it and then I put it down to read Hunger Games, maybe? I don't remember what book I set this down for. And then I just kind of forgot, and I saw it on my shelf and I was like, oh yes, I loved this book a lot. I need to finish it. And I'm a good chunk of the way through. I have a little Moomin bookmark in it. I'll show you. Look at a little Moomin bookmark in it. And so I'm going to finish this month. And I figure I can get through it because I've already started it. I really love this so far. I got this at the Strand in New York too. Last year maybe? It's very good so far. So there's that one. The 100 Years' War of Palestine. I keep picking this up to read, and I really, really need to read it. With everything that's happening in Palestine right now and it being so awful and the genocide there, I feel like now more than ever I should be reading about Palestine and history, and so I need to read this. So I'm going to give that to myself to read this month. I had it in March, maybe, on my to-be read list, and then it just got so hectic. So I'm bringing it to April, but I will get around to this. Even if I just start it, I think that's, again, like On Tyranny, very important to read right now. And then the last one is just kind of a fun read because it's been so cold and miserable here, and we had snow literally up until like last week. I've decided to read A Winter in New York by Josie Silver, who wrote One Day in December, which I didn't like, but I want to try. A Winter in New York because, I don't know, it feels just like a light, fluffy rom-com read, and I feel like maybe I need that, just a quick read. So that's this one. My sister gave this to me, and she was like, back when I wanted a physical copy of One Day in December and I couldn't find it anywhere, she was like, I did find this one by her. And so A Winter in New York it is, because it has not felt like spring. It's been cold and miserable and snowy, and so I'm gonna try to go through and read A Winter in New York. So that is all I'm putting in my April TBR. It's all kind of like pretty extensive with Legendborn, which I'm loving so much. My younger sister, this is her copy. I don't own the books, I'm borrowing them from her, but she was like begging me to read this, and she was like, you'll really like it, trust me, you need to read it. So I listened to her and she was correct. I do love it. It is very good. And then I have these over here, which are poetry and just like physical fiction, nonfiction books. Yeah. So that is my April TBR. I've got a week and a few days. Maybe I'll be ambitious. We'll see what I get through. Tune in at the end of the month and I will give you a recap of everything that I've gone through. We'll see. If I don't finish these in April because it took me so long to read Legendborn, I'm just gonna push them into March and just kind of roll it over instead of grabbing new like March TBR lists. I feel like a part of my problem with April too is I had no idea what I wanted to read. After the Hunger Games book, I just kind of like went into a slump and was like, I don't know what I want to read. I'm not sure. Everything just kind of was like, and I couldn't decide, and I had so many to read that it was overwhelming. And so it took me a minute to find what I wanted to read, but once I did, I feel like I have a pretty solid set here that I can roll into March if need be, depending on how ambitious I am. So that is it for this week's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know down below what you are reading this month. And I'm almost at 100 subscribers, which is crazy to me because that's like so many people. I don't even know if I know 100 people. I probably do, but like that's just a lot of people. So if you want to subscribe, you can do so below. And I will see you next Friday with a brand new video. Bye!